Hello and welcome back to this week's episode of Coach Ed Show. I'm always excited to share our guests. I love our guests personally, but I also love sharing their story. We've got a incredible man on the podcast today. Let's see. The words I would use, resilient. That's the first word that comes to my mind. Positive, faithful, relentless, open, transparent. Those are the words that describe the young man we've got on. He's still a young man to me. But he might call himself old. I don't call him.
I'm still young.
Yeah. So this guy is a two-time season builder alumni. Currently, he is in Southern California. He plays in the major arena soccer league for the Empire Strykers. So a dream of playing professional soccer. He is living. I'm just so excited about his future. And that's what all I have to say about the person that's joined us today. His name is Garrett Blume. Welcome, Garrett, to the Coach Ed Show.
Thank you so much. I'm super excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Man, I've been waiting for this. So why don't we start by just tell us a little bit about your background, where you grew up, maybe a little bit about your family, a little bit of your journey into your high school and then entering into college. So let's just set the stage a little bit for Garrett's background.
Yeah, so I was born in the United States, moved to Brazil when I was a little kid with my family. Like I always tell people, I consider myself Brazilian just because I grew up there my whole life. Grew up playing soccer, played soccer all throughout, ever since I was a little kid, and then ended up having some opportunities in Brazil and then Europe, and then made my way to United States, and now just currently in Southern California. So it's been a long, crazy journey, but it's been good.
Yeah, but it's all really. I mean, you've revolved around soccer or football, and so tell me a little bit. So when you came, where did your college journey start?
Yeah, so I went to Oklahoma Christian University in Oklahoma. It was a D2 school. I didn't know much about D1, D2, NAIA, all that stuff. So I kind of just came to the first one that offered me a good scholarship. Went there, played a few years, and then ended up later transferring to University of Memphis.
Garrett was a season builder before there was a season builder. So when I started this journey of coaching and mentoring young athletes, he was the very first one. Yeah. Do you remember what book we used when we were getting? Because I didn't have anything. I didn't have an idea what I was doing. I'm like, okay, we need to go through a book.
It was Burn Your Goals, right?
Yeah. Burn Your Goals. So we actually just started. I remember I got you to order it and I had my copy and we would just talk through different chapters and how that was applying to your life and as a college athlete, wanting to be a leader and feeling that leadership in yourself and how to navigate that and lead others. I remember that was an awesome time. I remember those. And of course it was before FaceTime and all that. We were just talking on the phone.
Yeah. It was definitely good because I think up until 2019 when I had the first injury, that was when I was like, up until then it was just like soccer. It was like, if I win, I'm up here. If I lose, I'm down here. And then the first time I did the season builder with you, it was good, but I think, going through things after that and going through the second one, that was what really like changed everything. You see me like grow up in a way,
Yeah, no, that's true. That's absolutely true. The first word that I used to describe you when we started the show was resilient. And that is one thing that is just, whenever I think Garrett Blume, I think of what an incredibly resilient young man. So you just mentioned it. You said that when you had the first injury, just the fact that you said first means there may be something that comes after. So walk us through that soccer, and then injury. Tell us that story about what happened, how you dealt with it. Was it difficult? All the stuff that I know so many people can identify with.
Yeah, my whole life was just all around soccer and like, playing pro and, growing up in Brazil, playing there and then playing in Europe and then coming to the United States, everything was just focused on, achieving, getting to the pro level. I was doing good at my school in Oklahoma. I had two really good individual seasons, but the team just wasn't doing that good. So I decided, I talked to a few people, and if I wanted to, get drafted or go pro, I have to go obviously to a higher level, D1. I did. I got a couple scholarships, a couple offers, and I ended up going to Memphis, which they're a really good school, really good conference, really tough conference. And yeah, pretty much as soon as I got there, I think it was our third official game of the season against St. Louis. I jumped up for a header, and when I landed, I just landed kind of awkwardly and tore pretty much everything in my knee. It was funny because I knew of ACL injuries, but I never thought it would happen to me. But yeah, it was a big shock for sure, because it was like, all right, I'm going to transfer here after everything, have a good season and finally go play pro. It was definitely tough. It wasn't at all like I'm going to give up. It was like, okay, I remember the first day that it happened, or the day after, when I got the MRI and found out what it was like 10, 20 minutes of kind of crying, kind of feeling bad. But then right after that, just all right, let's do rehab. And I had amazing trainers at Memphis. Shout out to Sam and Monica. They were great. But yeah, and then that was the first one.
How long was the rehab? How long did that take to get you back fully cleared and playing again?
Yeah, so it took 9 months, and it was 9 months of I even took care even more of my diet, and the trainers would go in on the weekends and do rehab. I will say the first one, it was kind of just all about my comeback, all about me. It helped me get through it, but then pretty much a year later, I tore it again, and that's where kind of my mind set shifted just a little bit after that. So
yeah. So you were cleared, and how long after you were back cleared, officially ready to go, before it happened again?
Yeah, so I was doing really well, no knee pain at all, not everything was fine. And then right before the start of the next season, I pulled my hamstring really bad, working out with another trainer, and right before preseason, and which sucked because I was feeling amazing. I was faster, stronger, I just felt good, and get to preseason and get ready to do the fitness test, and I can't do it because of my hamstring and all that. So it was kind of coaches were kind of rushing me back to play, and hamstring still wasn't good. And I've heard different things, but a lot of people say that your hamstring is the biggest muscle that supports your knee. So I think it was kind of me trying to play through it and get back sooner, to where one day in practice, literally a year later, tore it again in November, October of 2020.
Yeah.
Just in practice, I cut back and it tore and all that. So,
Well, yeah, remind me, was it the other knee, or was it the same knee?
it was the same knee.
Same knee.
Yeah, but for the second surgery, they had to open up my other knee and take out the patella and put it back in my right. So yeah, so it was basically, the second time was basically rehab for two knees.
So that happened, and oh, by the way, I hope you guys caught what year that was. 2020 wasn't our banner year for the world, so a lot of things going on in 2020 anyway. Okay, so talk to us a little bit about that. You said, okay, first one, let's get after it, conquer this, overcome, get back. Yeah. Second one, you indicated maybe it was a little bit different. How were you affected by the second one?
Yeah, the second one, I feel like it was kind of the same thing. First day was just sad. I was I'm done. But then after that, I remember having a phone call with one of my sisters, and it was really, I don't remember exactly what we talked about, but it was really good. And I just kind of took a deep breath, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to keep playing or not, but I'm just going to have the same work ethic and rehab it. But this time I'm kind of just going to give it to God and let God do what He wants with the recovery. And whenever I come back, if He wants me to play or not. It's pretty crazy to be able to be playing right now after those injuries. After that, I feel like it's just muscle injury after muscle injury as well, which is kind of frustrating given how good I take care of my body. But same mentality, just hey, just be patient. I'm gonna learn something through this, even if it's a week injury, a month injury, and just trust that God has a plan and trust the process.
I love that, because what you just said right there in those last 15 seconds, like, that's where you are now. Have you always been this way?
I don't think so. I think I've always worked hard and been focused. Like even growing up, like I didn't really party ever, drink, nothing. It was pretty much just soccer, soccer. And so I think that part I was always focused like that, but the part of just staying calm when things that are out of my control happen and have a good mentality towards that. I think that started probably like 2019, 2020. I think with the injuries, with you as well, when we did the second season builder. I was fortunate to meet some good guys in Memphis that kind of opened the door to me as well to like personal growth and development. I got into reading books. So I read like every day now. I would say, yeah, the past couple of years is where I really my mindset shifted like that.
So do you think if you would not have made the choice to grow yourself, to really grow your mindset, to grow your heart, to grow as a person, if you would not have gone through that growth or chosen, or you may have become a victim instead of a victor through some of these injuries, where do you think you would be right now?
I don't know. That's a tough one. Sometimes I look back just for a second and then I kind of just like stop thinking about it. But like, oh, what if I never transferred? What if I just stayed in Europe? What if I just stayed in Brazil? I could be playing here, there, but I probably for sure wouldn't be where I'm at, like mentally. I feel like I know sometimes when I'm on the right track, when I get like messages from different people, friends, or um, we can talk more about it later, but I coach private lessons like to the kids from like 10 to college age and get texts from their parents or those players or just from my friends as well. Like, man, like you inspire me, like the way you live your life, like, the mindset. So that stuff definitely keeps me going and it's worth it for sure. I'd rather have that than maybe be playing somewhere and not have that mentality.
Yeah, well, be the person that you are, because I think what you're describing right now is an inside thing, not an outside thing. Yeah, obviously, you're skilled and good looking guy and all that, but what you are all describing is what's I think is fueling the direction of your life is more about who you've become on the inside than you are on the outside. That's
Mm-hmm.
amazing. So you mentioned reading. So, that's always a great practical tool to help us grow our mindset, our heart, whatever it is to grow as a person. But what were some other things? What do you think? What were some other practical things that you did that you believe helped develop your mindset and your character and all those things that you just described?
Yeah, I would say reading, definitely podcasts, surrounding myself by people with similar mentalities and mindsets and that want to get better themselves because that motivates me. Just having an open mind to different things and to where God wants to take me and phone calls like this to people that I know that will help, if I'm having a rough day or if I'm lacking motivation or yeah, I'd say those are my top things that I turn to.
I think driven athletes or driven people in general, that we all have this kind of way about us. I don't know exactly the way to explain it, but that we can do things on our own. We've gotten to this, we can train, control what you can control, that we get in that mindset where we think we can fix it. We think we can do it. But inevitably, for most stories that end up the best, it typically is because there was somebody else in your life that you had an openness and a willingness to talk to someone else. What are your thoughts on how important it is to have someone else in your life that you can just talk to, or that'll listen, that maybe gives you advice, maybe doesn't, but just how important is it to have others in your life as you're on this growth journey?
Yeah, it's super important. As athletes, if you're always traveling and maybe you go to this team, get traded, whatever, you're pretty much on your own a lot. And I think it's super important to have someone there with you because even if you're like have God or if you don't, I mean, even if you do have God, sometimes He does talk to people in different ways, but sometimes I feel like you just need someone like in person or just a phone call, just like telling you. Sometimes all it takes is someone to like listen and maybe say just one word, and then you're like, okay, I feel better now. It's super important, super important. part of not just the game of or whatever sport anyone plays, but of life is your mindset, your mentality towards things. Being good up here is super important, and having someone there, outside of your family or someone to work with, it's super important.
Yeah, yeah. One word when you touched your head just now, and it reminded me of a word we talk about a lot that basically is the root to me of mindset, and it's about perspective. You have really been someone that has embraced that word. You use that word a lot. So talk about what that word means to you or how it's been helpful.
Yeah, that's a huge word. I think it's definitely helped me so much in the past. You've helped me with it. I like to live by that word. You can look at whatever situation you're in life right now. I mean, it's not always, even if you think it's bad, kind of just take a step back and think that, oh, maybe other people have it worse, or wait a little bit, and in the future you'll see why this happened. And I've had friends kind of tell me in the recently or in the past, just thanking me for opening their mind up a little bit to have a good perspective as well. Just last year, I remember this big tournament I played in, and a lot of things went on. We did really well, but didn't win. I became really close with this one of our goalies, and I remember after the game we got knocked out. We kind of just sit down. We were both frustrated, but it was like a big tournament, a big event with a lot of players, and we kind of just like sat down on the field and we're like, look where we are. That's what we said. And just took a deep breath, and it's like all the anger and like frustration left. I wouldn't want to have 2 knee injuries. I know I'm gonna feel pain in the future. Every day I kind of deal with something. I know for sure if I hadn't had these, I wouldn't be in California playing pro soccer right now. I'm grateful for that, and I think, yeah, perspective is huge for every.
Yeah, and I've said this before. We've said it before. You've even parroted it back to me when I've needed it. Sometimes, so that's an underestimated part, or maybe an unknown part of mentorship relationships, or when you're working with a coach. A lot of times, the player or the mentee doesn't realize sometimes how much of an encouragement they can be back to the coach. Because hey, I'm a human being too, right? And I've got a few gray hairs ahead of you here, but I have challenges and I question myself, and I know I teach this, but that only makes it worse because I beat myself up because like crap, I'm teaching this and I can't even follow it. So I just want to say to you personally, and for anyone that may be listening to this that may be in a mentor-mentee relationship, don't underestimate the power that a mentee has on the mentor. Because I think it was about last summer. I went through a challenging time with our organization, and we had to downsize, and some of our staff that I love dearly had to lay them off, and that hurt, and I didn't know. I said maybe it was at the end of the road for Season Builder, and I was in a low spot. And I remember us having some conversation where I was trying to encourage you, but you were encouraging me back. And it was just so powerful. So that kind of just kind of a tangent right here in the middle of this conversation. But I do want to say, if you are in that relationship, and specifically to you, G, that you've been such an encouragement to me, and don't stop. That's another thing. I'm going to make a request. Don't stop. Don't stop encouraging me, because you've been incredible.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I feel like just a phrase that I honestly, I don't remember if you told me it or if I heard it on a podcast, but it's when you feel like the most helpless, be the most helpful, or something like that.
Yeah, that's
so
great. Yeah,
that's something that I kind of do a lot. I mean, usually if you get a text from me, it's because I'm kind of in my feelings, and then you lift me up, or whoever lifts me up. So
that's a great point for anyone listening, because that literally is a very practical tool to changing your perspective. When you get in your feelings, take the focus off of you. Right, because that's what you just said. Take the focus off of you, and who can I go encourage? That you just explained. That's exactly what you do. So anyone out there that may be listening to this or watching us right now, that when you get that way and you don't know how to unget that way, grab your phone and go text somebody on a voice memo and send it to them. You'll be amazed how much that affects you but also has an impact on the other person. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, for sure. I would say, along with that, another thing that you taught me is talk to yourself instead of listening to yourself. I hadn't heard of that until we started meeting, and that definitely plays a big part. I remember one specific time after my second injury, I was like in the shower, and like out of nowhere, I just all these thoughts came in, like just stop playing, it's not gonna work. And then I just started talking to myself in the shower, and I felt great after that. And that was kind of the first time where I was like, wow, that worked.
Sit in the coach role for just a second. And in your words, how would you explain maybe to someone listening that's never heard that? How would you coach somebody? What would you tell them?
I don't know why, but a lot of our thoughts are negative or worried thoughts about things that are never even gonna happen in the future. So you might be sitting yourself, or you might be washing dishes or whatever, and you might just get all these thoughts like, oh, like, I'm not going to be able to pay this bill. I got hurt again, or I mean, I'm not going to pass this test, or whatever it is. And literally just talking yourself out loud, snap out of it. You're going to do good. Like, that's not going to happen. You know, just keep working hard, and just little things like that. So, like, literally, like, don't listen to yourself if you start getting those negative thoughts in your head. I don't know why it happens, but it happens a lot. Just talk to yourself out loud, go on a walk, or wherever you are, whisper it to yourself. And I mean, that definitely helps.
Yeah. And I heard someone say the other day, they said, mental training sometimes seems like this big, complicated, professional, like mental toughness, mental training, all that. But it's simple. It's simple, right? It's just the simplest things that when you hear the
Mm-hmm.
negative thoughts, talk back to them. Don't just sit there and take it. I say that's how I would explain it. When you're listening to yourself, you're sitting there and letting the negative thoughts use you. But like you said, talk to yourself, talk back, talk what you and I would say is talk the truth back, right? Talk the truth back to those lies. And so that's a very practical tip for anyone that is battling with negative thinking and dwelling on things and ruminating and get on that mental spiral that so many times we can get on is if you're in a spiral, it's probably because you are sitting there taking it from yourself.
Yeah.
But what we say in Season Builder is with our principles, we got to slam on the brakes, right? No more, right? Things happen to me, not for me. If I want a different result, I got to make a different choice because I'm the only person that can stop me.
Exactly.
Do you have a particular one you find yourself going to more often than not?
I think lately, for me, it's just really simple, but it's just take a day at a time. That's for this year, for sure. That's been mine. Just take a day at a time and be patient. And
Yeah.
like that doesn't mean just take a day at a time and sit back and relax. Like, no, you have to keep going. It's gonna happen eventually. Like, all the work that you're doing is gonna turn into overnight success.
Yeah.
I think that's a big one. I like to reference. There's something I've told a few of my friends that um, I think it's great, but it's like the reference of a piñata at a birthday party. You kind of just keep hitting the piñata, and you don't know when the candy's gonna fall out, but all it takes is one more hit and it opens up. And that's the same thing in life. Whatever you're chasing or whatever you're working towards, like, just keep going, keep knocking, because one day it's gonna work. You don't know when it is, but you can't stop. So just take a day at a time, keep working hard. One day something's gonna open up, and you're gonna be like, man, that's it. It worked.
I
Yeah.
love that analogy too, because what I love the most about it is the thing that breaks open the piñata. It may be very easily to think the swing that you took that broke it in half and all the candy poured out, you think that was the one
Mm,
that broke the
yeah.
piñata,
Exactly.
but it just happened to be the one at the right timing.
Yeah.
Did the first swing that you ever hit that piano, was that part of the process?
Yeah. I feel like
Absolutely.
everything was, yeah. And that's the thing. People are gonna look at your last hit and be like, oh, he's just good, or that just worked out. But no, like, you have to be disciplined. You have to be consistent. Those are two big words that I tell myself, like, every day, and that I tell the players that I coach too. Every day, even if it's just for a little bit. Like, you have to keep going.
Yes.
Everything is part of the process.
I'm so glad you brought that up because so many times you're tempted to to want to give up, and because the pinata didn't break, but you've been breaking it. You just haven't seen it yet. Awesome, man. So this is really good. You're giving so many people so many practical tools. Like if you will just listen to what Garrett is saying, I mean, he is a living, breathing example of these practices at work, and that they do work. So let's talk about another huge piece of your life that you and I are aligned around, and that's your faith. Your faith in God. Talk to me a little bit about how much you've grown, because obviously faith has been a part of your life and your upbringing, but maybe let's hone in through the challenges, through the adversity, right? It's love to praise God on the mountaintop, but what about what happens when you get in the valley? So maybe you can just share a little bit about your personal testimony about your growth in your faith through these challenges.
I grew up in a good family, and I grew up going to church and everything, but I feel like me personally really got close to God in like 2019, 2020, just a few years ago. It's been challenging. It's kind of the same thing as whatever you're working towards in life. You have to keep doing it a little bit a day, whether it's read one Bible verse a day or pray once a day or whatever. You just have to be consistent with it because God's always there, even if sometimes you don't feel like it. I feel like definitely the hard times have gotten me closer to God for sure.
Have there been times where you've not questioned God, but where you've kind of cried out to him, whether it's verbally or non-verbally, but like, all right, what's the deal? Like,
Oh
what's
yeah,
going on here? Like, what? I don't understand. Like, what? I thought we had a plan here. Like, what's the deal? Have
yeah.
you ever had those situations?
Honestly, yeah, so many times. Sometimes it feels like it's every day, and I'm like, man, like what's going on, you know? But I feel like that's where and faith comes in, and it's kind of hard to explain faith to people that don't believe in God, and even for me, still sometimes it's hard for me to explain it to myself. Or like, what is faith? But you just have to believe that good things are going to happen in the future, despite what challenge you're going through right now.
That it's a belief. I think you and I would align. Right? It's a strong belief that there's something bigger at play. There's
Mm-hmm.
a bigger story being told. It's not, we're not the center of the universe. That
Yeah,
we are a part of that, and all things are working for the good of those that love God and are called according to his purpose. I mean, it says that in Romans 8:28, and that's easy to say, right? When the day you sign that pro contract, all things work for the good. Yeah, yeah. All right. What about, I have this vivid picture of you. We were FaceTiming, but you were laying down, your knee was iced, it was elevated, you were laying on the bed. We were having one of our season builder sessions, and your knee was just wrapped in gauze like crazy. I think the ice packs were on it, or the ice cooling thing machine. You know, it's it's hard to smile and recite that verse in that posture sometimes.
yeah. Yeah, it really is. It really is. It's like there's only so much you can say to someone because they could be in just like the worst situation ever. But
Yeah.
you just have to believe. Like just take it at a time. Like read, open up the Bible, look up on your phone verses that are. I mean, I still do this now. Like your app verses that help your mind with when you're dealing with physical pain. That's what I look up a lot
Mm.
because I'm pretty much in physical pain
Physical
every
pain a
day.
lot.
Yeah, I'd say that's definitely a good tool for people to use.
Yeah, I think it's important for us as believers to acknowledge the challenges that our life isn't great. It isn't perfect. It's not always rainbows and unicorns, and
Mm.
our faith is just this mountaintop experience all the time, and it's just not. We have to battle for that. It's a battle sometimes, but like you said just a minute ago, it's worth it. We're getting toward the end. I really appreciate so much you taking this time to share all of this. I think it's going to help so many people. One thing that you've always been consistent about to me is that your desire to help other people. You have a desire to help other people. So talk to our listeners and our viewers just about what that passion to help people and help others is inside of you.
When you make things about others and not yourself, you kind of take the stress off of you. Life's not all about you. People go through different things all the time, and someone could look fine, but deep down, they're not. I just think life is too short to not help other people in need because we're very privileged and blessed to grow up how we grew up and never miss a meal or always have a house or a car or whatever. So this is just really important because, you know, people have helped me in the past. So I feel like it'll be selfish if I don't teach people what people have taught me in the past or what God's taught me or what soccer's taught me. So just making it not about yourself and just impacting other people, that really makes a difference. You know, one of my goals each day is just kind of like compliment someone every day, like even if it's something random. You know, like the other day at the gym, I just complimented this guy's tattoo and like his face like lit up and we just talked for like 10 minutes and just out of one thing, you know, just one little compliment. Yeah, helping other people, impacting other people with the skills and the gifts that God gave you is really important to
Yeah,
me.
that's kind of the point. It's
Yeah,
important to me too. So,
yeah.
speaking of that, you know, one of the things that we talked just in our last couple of months is when you've gone out to California, but your desire to really want to train, want to help others, serve others with your gifts, and you know, you'd had this desire to want to launch your own training company and give back to youth and really train them not only in the physical part, but just the whole, the mental, the emotional, love on them. So talk about your new journey. What's the name of it, and how's that going?
I've been coaching private lessons in soccer for a couple years now, and moving out here was also kind of part of the plan to start my own training company. Yeah, it's called Kaizen Football. So Kaizen is a Japanese philosophy that means just continuous, like daily growth. Kind of what we talked about, just get a little bit better every day. But I really focus on not just the physical or technical side of the game, but also like mental. I feel like growing up, obviously my parents were great, but I didn't really have in soccer like someone telling me like, hey, when this happens, this, do this, or react this way. Giving my players confidence is a big thing and preparing them for things that might happen on the field and off the field. So not just bettering them as a player, but as a person as well.
Yes, yes, you are a master. You said you're only 27 years old, but yeah, we've talked before about the texts that you get from parents and the conversations you have, and just you are making a tremendous difference. So if they're listening to this, watching this, where could they find out more about your organization, your company?
Yeah, I have an Instagram page. It's called Kaizen Football Company. So kaizenfootball.co. That's on my Instagram as well, Garrett Blume. That's the main page I have for it right now.
I encourage people to go follow that. I follow it, and I've really enjoyed watching just some really practical things, seeing what you're doing with kids, how they're responding, and how they're working hard. But you can tell they're having fun. It's cool. I've really enjoyed watching you progress already, and so I know that's going to do great things. And yeah, I'm excited. I really am excited to where that goes. Not only your career playing, but just you got so much ahead of you. There's so many things that you can do, and I know you're just being obedient to what God's calling you to do, and it's going to be successful. Last thing, or two little quick things. What would you say to someone to encourage them to reach out to a mentor? I love to help, but there's a bunch of people in the world. You only know if you need
Mm.
the help. What would you say to someone that may have been like you and knew that things needed to change, or you wanted to change, you wanted to grow, and maybe you've learned that maybe that talking with somebody is a good thing, whether it's me or there's tons of people around the world that do the same thing that I do. But what would you say to someone? How would you encourage them to reach out to a mentor?
Yeah. First of all, I think it's just great to have someone kind of like be there with you and know what you're going through and give you tips and just different things to help you get through the situation you're going through because obviously that person is there for a reason and they do what they do for a reason. They're either really good at it, blessed at it, or they've gone through it before. I just recommend not going through things alone because it's just going to make it 10 times harder. You know, having someone in your corner there with you is just it's going to help you for sure if you're an athlete or not. But, you know, I thought in the beginning it was just going to help me on the field, but more importantly, it helped me off the field, which has then helped me on the field, if that makes sense. Just not waiting until you're all the way down here to reach out. You know, if you start feeling like you need help outside of, you know, yourself, I would just definitely reach out to someone that can help you.
What do you think? Because you've been an ambassador of sorts for Season Builder, and you've been open about how our relationship has helped you. But obviously, you've shared that with people before, and they haven't reached out. What do you think people are afraid of?
I mean, it could be different things. It could just be like they feel like they're gonna waste their time. Or maybe they're not comfortable opening up to someone else, which I usually am not comfortable opening up to someone else. In life, you just kind of got to take risks. I never thought that when we first met, we'd still have this super close relationship however many years later.
Why do you think we still have a relationship 7 years later?
I think we just connected really well, and I feel like I feel like both of us just kind of lift each other up. I think for sure you've helped me so much, and if someone's helping me and if they're helping me grow, I want to stay around them. If they have a mentality or if they have a job or if they have just something about them that I like or that I want to get to one day, why not stick with them? So I definitely look up to you a lot, and like just your mindset, like how you just always seem positive no matter what you go through, and that's kind of what I want to continue, like that's where I want to be. I want to get to that and just have this good open mindset, and also just help people that are in need, you know. So
Yeah.
that's for me, that's been a big reason why we're still super close.
Yeah. Yeah. I just don't want you to drop me. I'm hitched to your wagon, man. You ain't hitched to mine, but man, it's been so good. I think there's just so much in here that's going to help so many people. It's been an encouragement to me. Maybe one final thing. What's a final parting word that you would give? Just maybe something you've learned, maybe a message that someone could take and really it could help their life. But anything that's on your heart that you would love to share as a parting remark?
I would just say, just take a day at a time and keep working, be patient. Whatever job you have in life, whatever you're going through, it's gonna work out. Everything happens for a reason. I'm a big believer of that. And then just having a good perspective and being grateful. Those are a couple words that just help me so much. One phrase also that you've told me once, and I'll never forget. It's just be thankful and hungry. Be grateful and hungry. So be grateful for what you have. Be hungry even if you can't see it. Be hungry, you know, to continue to chase after your dream, or you know, your job, or whatever, you know, you want to achieve. Those are a couple words and just some things that have helped me lately and continue to help me every day.
That's great. Well, thank you all for listening, for watching the Coach Ed Show today. Special thanks to Garrett. I encourage you to go check down in the notes. Go follow Garrett on Instagram. Check out Kaizen Football, all the cool things he's doing there, and just also the Coach Edge app. We didn't really talk about it very much, but there's an app that Garrett mentioned that can help you with your mindset that is based on a virtual me. So if you want to check out what would Coach Edge say, what would a relationship with him look like, you can kind of get a trial by using the app. So I encourage you to download the Coach Edge app. So Garrett, thank you so much for being with us, and I look forward to seeing you in person sometime soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Taylor.